Hi there, and thank you for watching this November edition of the Animal Services Pawcast. Now, this is going to be a very special episode because we're going to be hanging out with our animal protection team for the entire show. But before we get rolling, as always, let's take a look at the live release rate for the previous month. Last month, Animal Services had a save rate of 87%. This means more than 1,700 animals were either adopted, transferred to a rescue partner, or returned to their owner. And speaking of returning pets to their homes, our animal protection team performs a lot of these reconnections. I'm joined now by Gina Ramirez, the program manager for the animal protection team. Gina, about how many of these reconnections does your team perform?
So last month alone, we were able to reunite about 140 pets to their family. So far of 2019, we've been successful in returning about 1,600 pets back to their families.
That's a lot of pets returning back home. So great work from you guys. What would make it easier for your officers out in the field to reconnect even more pets?
Microchip, microchip, microchip. We can't stress it enough how microchip plays an important role in reuniting your pets back to you. It makes it a lot more easier for the officers and our animal protection team to reunite your pets back. It takes them within a matter of minutes if we find a pet with a microchip and the information's all up to date.
And I understand that you guys not only are checking microchips when you find lost pets, but you're also out in the community providing free microchips to pet owners who may not be able to afford one.
That's correct, Ramon. We've been holding several free microchip events by our animal protection team, and over the last few weeks, we've been able to successfully microchip about 100 pets.
I'm glad you mentioned that because we're going to go ahead and pop up several upcoming microchip dates. I'm going to go ahead, but while we have these dates up, also discuss a few of the misconceptions about microchips. I've heard people say that they think they're GPS trackers. They are not. And people that think that the microchip is a painful process, and they're not really any more painful than a typical vaccine. What are some of the misconceptions you've heard?
So yes, a lot of citizens think that a microchip is a GPS tracker, which it's not. A microchip essentially is a small chip that is coded with an identification number, and it will be registered with us or the microchip manufacturer. And once we enter it into the system, we're able to pull the owner's information and give them a call, let them know that we have their pet with us.
Good stuff. Gina, thank you so much. We'll hear from you later on in the episode. Any last minute thoughts when it comes to microchips?
Please microchip your pets.
Get in the microchip. Microchip.
Yes.
It's as simple as that. But again, we're going to take a look at those dates again and times for our next free microchip event that our animal protection officers organize and go out to all parts of the community to provide free microchips. Again, there is no charge at all. We just ask that you bring your well-behaved dogs on a leash and any cats in a secured carrier. For dates of other upcoming events, go ahead and like us on Facebook. We post all of our events on social media, and we also answer any questions you may have. Well, dogs and cats are not the only animals that can go wandering into neighborhoods. The borderland has its fair share of wildlife that can end up in your yard. Animal Services and Texas Parks and Wildlife do respond to many kinds of wildlife calls, but here are a few tips to help prevent these visitors from coming onto your property or just ways to keep your family safe. First, do not leave any pet food out overnight. If your pets have finished eating, pick up their bowls. Oftentimes, animals like foxes and skunks will jump into yards to eat any leftover dog or cat food. Another tip from our animal protection team is to walk and inspect your yard prior to letting your pets out for a potty break or to play. Snakes and other wildlife can make their way into the corners of your property or the just main parts of your property, leading to your pets possibly being attacked. And the last thing to keep in mind is that wildlife has been found in all parts of the city, not just along the Franklin Mountains as most would think. So with that in mind, be aware of your surroundings. And if you come across any wildlife, Animal Services and our animal protection team want to remind you to keep your distance and be calm. Wildlife is completely normal for our region, but if you do see that wildlife is posing an immediate danger, please call 311. The holiday season is also right around the corner, and we want to make sure that you keep your pets in mind. We're going to send it over to Michelle, who's with one of our senior officers, who's going to share some pet holiday tips. Michelle?
Thanks, Ramon. So I'm joined here by Officer Ortiz. So Officer Ortiz, tell us a little bit about the dangers that the holidays bring our four-legged friends.
As we know, Thanksgiving is mainly about the food, which is the best part. But yeah, we got to take into consideration that it's best that we keep away the food, the sweets, the snacks away for the dogs. Keep them with their normal diet. If you want to give them a treat, by all means, go ahead and give them a treat, but make sure it's for a pet. Anything off the table, might irritate a dog's stomach, or upset their stomach.
So those are some great tips. And what about holiday guests? Those can be a problem for pets too, right?
Oh yes, most definitely. The reason I guess it will stress out a dog, anxiety starts to settle in, because if the dog is not used to a large amount of people, they get tense. So we recommend a safe place, a quiet place. Also, it's recommended that with large amount of guests, there's a possibility that someone's going to leave one of the doors open or something.
So it's really important to then have your pet microchipped, right?
No, definitely microchip. Or at least if you don't have a microchip, you can at least, make sure that they're wearing their collar, their tags, some sort of contact information on there.
All right, so those are some great tips that Officer Ortiz shared with us today. I'm going to throw it back to you, Ramon. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. We're back here with Gina Ramirez, the program manager for the Animal Protection Division of Animal Services. Gina, you have lots of years working in the field. Talk to the public a little bit about what it's like working out there as an animal protection officer.
Yes, Ramon, I do have a lot of years. We won't go into how many, but we've transitioned into something great. When I first started, we were the well-known dog catchers out in the community, rounding up as many dogs as we could. We've now become the engagement officers. My animal protection officers are out there engaging with our community, helping them with resources that we can, and just helping them, educating them, and aiding them in being a more responsible pet owner.
And I know we were talking earlier, one of the things that you're going to be out there talking to members of the community is about the cold weather coming up. You want to share some cold weather tips with our audience?
Please keep in mind that your pets get cold too, so we will be checking for adequate shelter. 3 sides, a roof, and a floor. It needs to be completely closed on the floor. We'll be making sure that they have sufficient clean water and their confinement is enclosed without making sure that they can't escape.
And if you have that extra space in a garage, a laundry room, an extra bathroom, for those cold nights, that's probably the best alternative, really.
Yes, we're always going to recommend if you can bring in your pets into your restroom, into the garage, into a laundry room, please do so. Even go buy a pop-up kennel, leave them in your living room, and let them stay warm with you.
Gina, those are definitely some good tips with the cold weather coming around. That pretty much does it for us on this episode. We want to thank you and your team for giving us this behind-the-scenes look and letting the public know all the good stuff you guys are doing out in the field. Any last-minute comments or words for the audience?
Yes, I want to encourage the community to please microchip your pets and stay safe out there.
Again, we want to thank you also for being a friend and a partner to Animal Services, and how we end every episode. We're going to say it one more time. Together,
we will save more lives.